Hi dear friends and subscribers, welcome to this very late cricket happening show on Saturday. In this particular cricket happening show, the Ashes Test Series is the one which I'm going to talk about, which was the second day's play today in the Ashes Test Series between England and Australia. And stumps on day 2, Australia have put up a decent reply. I wouldn't say a very firm reply, but definitely a decent reply on this pitch, and they were placed at 222 for 5 at close of play on the second day of the fourth test match of the Investec Ashes Test Series. Well, the feature of the game, the feature of today's play was the batting of Chris Rogers. Now, Chris Rogers was undefeated on 101 with 13 boundaries, and this is what was required on this particular pitch, because this pitch, as you know, is not an easy pitch to bat on. You have to really accumulate the runs, and that's what precisely Rogers did. Chris Rogers registered his maiden test century, and what a proud feeling for him. In fact, Australia, that in the last test match, he definitely missed that opportunity when he was out. If I'm not wrong, he was out in the 80s. But today he went on. Yes, he definitely had to survive the nervous 90s. On 96, probably he took a long time to be there on 96, on the 90s, and then it took a sweep. Now, Chris Rogers normally doesn't sweep, but probably he trusted his instincts, and just before the play ended due to rain, he actually swept the Graham Swan and went on to his maiden test century. What a relief for him. And Chris Rogers, let me tell you one thing, the job is still unfinished, because what Australia have to do is they have to go to a big score. Yes, they are just 16 runs shy of the 238 all out of England. They are with 222 for 5 at close of play, but that is not something Rogers has to really accumulate. If he can get some good support from Brad Hannon, the tail enders from the Australian lineup, then probably Chris Rogers would like to still go further and probably make 150 runs. But he's looking good. It has been very tough. In fact, he definitely survived a drop chance, and then he also survived an LBW decision. It was pretty weird that the English fielders had to ask the umpire why he was not given not out, and then he survived that. So, but yes, he has lived his life, and he has taken immense advantage out of it, and he was undefeated on 101. Well, he nurdled, he actually glided the ball, he played a few wonderful strokes on the offside, which he's capable of playing, as we all know, and he did everything. But just looking at this Australian, but before that, let me just go on to the England innings, because they resumed at that overnight score, and they were out on that same score. They were 238 all out. Today, Bresnan and Broad were there, but Bresnan remained not out on 12. With Broad being a victim of Harris. Harris was the one who picked up 2 wickets, and James Anderson Jackson Bird captured the wicket of Anderson, who was clean bowled for 16. So they didn't add much runs compared to the overnight total, and they were all out for 238, with Broad contributing 3, Swan making 13, 3 boundaries, Anderson 16, all the 16 runs were hit in boundaries, and this was the England score, 238 all out. As far as the bowling was concerned, Ryan Harris picked up 2 wickets. He had not taken any wickets, so he would be very happy with that effort. In fact, at least he got 2 wickets in the end. 2 for 58 for Jackson Bird. In fact, the wickets were absolutely shared. Nathan Lyon staying at yesterday's figure of 4 for 42, and 1 wicket apiece to Shane Watson and Peter Siddle. But Australia, replying to 238, didn't have a good reply at all. In fact, they were rocked on early by Stuart Broad, who was bowling superbly. He was bowling an excellent line, and it was not easy for the batsman to really face him, let me say that. And David Warner was the first victim, where he was not really confident what to do, and finally he actually decided to leave the ball, which came in and knocked the stumps. So David Warner was gone, bowled by Broad for 3. After that, the next wicket to go was Usman Khwaja, who definitely decided to actually leave the ball, but while leaving the ball actually had some deviation, and it took the bottom edge of the blade of Khwaja's bat and went into Pryor's hand. So that was the second wicket to go, and Usman Khawaja was out for a duck. So that made it 12 for 2 for Australia. And then when Michael Clarke, the captain, departed for 6, again, this was not a good shot from Michael Clarke. Clarke was sucked into the drive, and Cook at the slips, taking the catch of a ball which was swinging away from the batsman, and Michael Clarke was gone for 6. And that made this Australian score look a bit ragged at 49 for 3. And that was the time Chris Rogers was there, but Chris Rogers was just staying there, just wanting to, holding the fort for Australia there. And then Stephen Smith came and joined him. Stephen Smith, well, he looked confident, hitting 3 boundaries, but Bresnan, even though this partnership didn't yield much, in from 49 for 3, they were once again they lost the wicket of Stephen Smith, as Bresnan actually took their catch. In fact, Bresnan was the bowler who actually got the wicket of Stephen Smith. He was caught by Pryor, and that was not a good shot from Stephen Smith. He actually poked at a ball which was moving away from him, and Pryor behind the stumps took the catch. So he was gone for 17, and Australia were reduced to 76 for 4, and once again looked like England were really coming back into the game. And they were trying to grab the initiative. But all those thoughts that England would have nourished was simply dissipated slowly but surely, with a partnership which actually was a very fruitful partnership in that. It yielded 129 runs for the 5th wicket between Shane Watson. As you know, he came in at number 5, and he played a good hand. In fact, he survived a few early scares. Chris Rogers, as I said, he was doing the accumulating job, and Shane Watson, well, he was also giving very good support to Chris Rogers. He knew that Australia were in a crisis at a particular stage at 76 for 4, and it needed Shane Watson to buckle down with Rogers, and that's what precisely Shane Watson did. And Shane Watson was really tested, I would say, by Anderson and Broad and the other bowlers, but Watson decided to stick it out, and finally victory was his by slowly eking out runs, and also taking full toll of any loose deliveries that were served to him, with Shane Watson scoring 68. So that was the partnership which was going on, and Shane Watson, they were doing very well. It looked like Australia were slowly getting this pair to probably take them to close of play. But that was the time Broad actually once again came back. As you know, Broad already broke he hit the top line of the Australian batting lineup initially, but now he came in, and he was, I would say, the bowling honours definitely belonged to Broad, because he picked up his 4 wickets. He had analysis of 20 over 6 maidens, 48 runs in 4th wicket, when he picked up the wicket of Shane Watson, who was caught by Pryor behind the wicket of the bowling of Broad for 68 with 7 boundaries. So that left the score at 205 for 5, but that was a wonderful job done by Chris Rogers and Watson, stitching together a 129-run partnership. But after that, Brad Haddin came in. He hit 2 boundaries in his knock of 12 not out, and Chris Rogers, as I said, survived a few anxious moments with Graham Swan. He was absolutely stuck up in his 90s, and then it took a sweep from Chris Rogers, which normally is not the case. Chris Rogers doesn't sweep much, but today we saw Chris Rogers sweeping and getting on to his maiden Test century. So congratulations to Chris Rogers for his maiden Test century. After that, the light was not good, and play had to be called off, with Australia placed at 222 for 5, with Chris Rogers on an unbeaten 101 with 13 boundaries. Brad Haddin was not out on 12 with 2 boundaries. 222 for 5 was the score for Australia. As far as the bowling figures went, Anderson 20 over 7 maidens, none for 54, but Broad absolutely the wicket taker of the day, 20 over 6 maidens, 48 runs and 4 wickets, and just reward for splendid bowling on this particular pitch by Stuart Broad. Bresnan 16.4 overs, 3 maidens, 60 runs and 1 wicket. That was the time bad light came into play, and the play had to be called off. Graham Swan also bowled well, 15 overs, 5 maidens, none for 37. He really had bowled a probing line to Chris Rogers, I would say. Jonathan Trott bowled 3 overs, none for 10. And that was it. The day ended with Australia just 16 runs shy of the England total of 238 all out. But as I said, the job is not yet finished, because Australia really have to really tighten it up, in the sense tomorrow we have, the new ball, probably we still have 16 overs, so Probably Australia will try to take advantage in the early morning when the English seamers are bowling, because once the new ball comes, it's quite possible that Anderson, Broad, and we all know that Anderson, Broad, and Preston are absolutely capable of some great swing bowling with the red cherry. But before that, I'm sure Brad Haddin, who can really play aggressively, and Chris Rogers, also continuing in the same fashion as today, would like to put a lot of runs on the board, and probably they would like to really extend this partnership. And probably I have a feeling that an 150 runs lead also could be quite handy on this particular pitch. And so that is the match situation, and one is looking forward to that tomorrow, which will be the third day's play in this fourth test match. Now, dear fans and subscribers, let's turn into the Caribbean Premier League now, where Trinidad and Tobago, Red Steel, finally they were really struggling. They didn't have a single victory in the Caribbean Premier League 2013, and yesterday was their day, with Trinidad and Tobago. It's a very close match, in fact, with Trinidad and Tobago winning, Red Steel winning the match by only a 3-run margin when they played against Guyana Amazon Warriors, who actually were restricted by the Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel bowlers to 156, after Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel put up 159 for 4 of their 20 overs. The feature being a very good opening partnership between Kevin O'Brien and Adrian Barat. Kevin O'Brien looked absolutely fluent. In fact, if you look at his innings, he had more sixes than fours, cracking 70 runs of just 47 deliveries, with 2 fours and 6 sixes. And in 11 overs, in probably, I would say, 70 deliveries, the Trinidad and Tobago were sitting pretty at 95 with this opening partnership. Adrian Barat scoring 29 of 31 balls with 3 fours, 39 coming in from Ross Taylor, and an unbeaten knock of 27 deliveries with 3 fours and 2 sixes. So that's enabled them to get to a mark of 159. And after that, it was left to Guyana Amazon Warriors. And Guyana Amazon Warriors, well, they didn't have a good start. They lost Lendl Simmons pretty early on 18 of 10 balls with 1 4 and 2 6. Martin Guptill was out for 6. Mohammad Hafiz contributing 35 of 38 balls. But then they had a good partnership. In fact, Franklin and Barnwell, they were at a time they were 78 for 4, chasing 159 in the 14th over. So still it was a nip and tuck, because 78 runs were still required for them to really go for the victory. In the balance, I would say, it will be 39 deliveries. And let me tell you, in the 39 deliveries, really Franklin played a good hand. He tried his best, but he couldn't take Guyana Amazon Warriors past the finishing line, finishing on an unbeaten 60 of 34 balls with 5 fours and 3 sixes. Barnwell also contributed a very quick fire 23 of 18 balls with 1 4 and 1 6, also was not out, but both couldn't actually take the Guyana Amazon Warriors past the finishing line, and finally they finished with a score of 156 for 4 of their 20 overs, thanks to Kevon Cooper, who bowled excellently. 4 overs, no made, and none for 35, even though the figures don't reflect, but the last over that he bowled well, even though it was Franklin who smashed 2 fours. Didn't really matter. Kevin Cooper bowled well. Edwards taken for runs, 1 for 47, none for 25 for Dillon Johnson. 4 overs, none for 23. Suleiman bowled excellently, I thought. And Dwayne Bravo, 4 overs, 2 for 21. And the man of the match going to Kevin O'Brien of Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel. So as I said, Trinidad and Tobago Red Steel getting their first victory under their belt in the Caribbean Premier League 2013. So congratulations to them. Well, dear fans and subscribers, nothing else to really add today. I know this is a very late cricket show on Saturday, but that is how it is. Come back from my work, and then only I would be in a position to do my cricket happening show. Well, dear fans and subscribers, once again, thanks for your patience in waiting for this cricket happening show. Well, your host Ram will see you tomorrow. Good night.